Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Anup. We had 2-3 sessions earlier in April for advanced web programming, and then the classes were stopped. So we'll be resuming today. So I asked Indrani madam whether I will have to restart, means I will have to repeat the topics that I had already covered. And she said that it will be better if I repeat those topics. So we'll start from the beginning, and we'll try to finish up in time. Okay. So nowadays, if you see, there are two very important things. One is having a website, and another one is a mobile application. So mobile is handy to everybody, and so just looking up some website for information, or through an access some facility through app, that is the common thing that everybody is doing. So desktop applications are still there, but there is a less usage of desktop application. Otherwise, mostly people are going for web applications or mobile applications. So here we will be covering web programming, in which I will be covering how to create a website, how to host a website, and basically how to design websites which are mobile compatible, so that they look different on the mobile and different on the desktop or iPad. So depending on the different devices, like you have a iPad, or you have an iPhone, you have a desktop, you have a TV screen. So depending on the screen size, the content will adapt to itself. Now, World Wide Web was invented by Tim Berners-Lee, and he also invented the HTML. But HTML alone was not sufficient, so they went on to creating a World Wide Web consortium, which develops standards for World Wide Web and different web technologies. So let me zoom. So to create a website, what do you actually require? So to create a website, first of all, I need a website, of course. So I need a website content like pages. So like if it is a Facebook website, so you'd require wall, friends, your own post. So all those are in different pages. So you require those website pages, which are also known as web pages. And then you require a web host. So basically, if your website has to be online so that everybody can access at any time, so you have to put it on a laptop or a server or anywhere. Practically, it will be on a server, but you can put it anywhere, and it has to be on 24/7 so that people are able to access it. And to access it, you also require an IP address, public IP address, so that everybody can access it from anywhere. If you put a private IP, it will be only accessible within your LAN. So you require a public IP so that everybody can access it. Okay. Now you got an IP address, you got a system, and you have a website, but you cannot tell everybody to access your website using 112.223.31.56. So you require basically a domain name which is easy to remember, like facebook.com, google.com, example.com, anything like that. So that is called a domain name. So you require a domain name for your website to be accessible using some name which can be easily remembered, not some numbers. Well, your website will be accessible using those IP address also. We'll see that, but domain name is for easy to remember. And of course, you should be connected to the network. So these are the important things you require for creating your own website. Now, nowadays it is quite simple to create a website because there are many online website which not only gives you a, so they give you a web hosting facility. So you can web host we can put your website directly on their server, and they are always on. So no need to worry about public IP or anything. So like Big Rock is there, GoDaddy is there. So you go there, you buy a domain name, and then you can also buy hosting facility, and then you dump your website there. There are many websites which also help you to create your own website. So using that also you can create your own website, like Wix is there. Uh, you can develop using Drupal, WordPress. So those are the facility for creating your website, but it is better to create your website from scratch. It is quite easy. And as you will go through this course, you will know that creating a website is fun. It is so easy. And once you see the content on the website online, you will think that, wow, so good. Now, now we will only focus on our own region. That is, we have to develop a website. Hosting and other things can be taken up later. Usually people do not host it on their own system unless they have their own data center or server. So everybody simply goes to those domain name provider and simply create a domain, buy a domain name, and then upload the website using their web hosting facilities. Okay, now the web development part. So for web development part, you require few things. So like for running your website, you require a web server. So if you are developing a website, you want to test whether the website is working fine or not. Now, if it is a plain HTML file, you can simply run it in browser and it will work. But there are many things like which require a web server or an application server. So like PHP, you require a PHP interpreter as well as a web server. So for those things, we will be using Apache. So Apache will be our uh, web server. There are others also like Nginx is there, and then there are application server also. But for our plain PHP and HTML, Apache will be sufficient. Next thing is for storing the data, we require MySQL database. So you can use other database also if it is available, like MS SQL. You can use NoSQL like MongoDB. So our programming will be independent of that. You just have to, 2-3 functions are there. You just have to change the function. So like if for connection, I use MySQL _ connect. So if it is a MS SQL, so you simply have to change it to MS SQL _ connect. So in that way, our web designing will be easy because MySQL is free and it has a lot of community support. So that's why I chose this MySQL. And then any website, it has some dynamic contents. So for dynamic contents like getting the data from a database or getting the data from a file. So for all those things, you need to have a dynamic programming language. So for that, we will be using PHP. So there are others also, like you can use JSP, ASP, but here we will go with PHP. Now PHP MyAdmin is just a PHP based browser for MySQL. So instead of going to MySQL command prompt and then writing commands, create table or insert into select asterisk, rather we will go to PHP MyAdmin, which gives you a nice GUI through which you can access the databases, you can create tables and everything. So these all softwares are required. So instead of downloading each individually, we can install XAMPP, XAMPP. So XAMPP is a combined software which you can download and install it on your system. and automatically Apache, MySQL, PHP, and PHP MyAdmin is included in this, so it will automatically run with one single software. Then of course you require a browser like Chrome or Firefox or Safari, whichever has access to whatever browser. Then for writing codes, usually you can write a code in Notepad or WordPad, or in, if you are using Linux, you can write it in Libre or Notepad++, but it is always advisable to use an IDE, integrated development environment, because in IDE there are many facilities. So like one facility is that if you write wrong code, it will tell you that this is syntactically wrong, or it will also give you suggestion that what can be the correct way to write the code. So if you have written wrongly any function, or wrongly declared any variable, or missed the semicolon, or missed the closing bracket, so all those things it will show you that this is wrong. And then another thing is that there are so many functions and you may not remember everything. So there is a facility of auto completion, so that you type few letters and it will suggest that what are all the functions or facility available with that few letters. So that is auto completion. So if auto completion is there, our work is more easy than using a notepad. Okay, so any website so any website, if you see, so there are a few things. So one thing is a static content. So a static contents like address, suppose it's your company website, so you have your address on the website, so that is a static content, and any static content can be represented using our HTML. Now after that there are some dynamic contents. So dynamic contents, data which will be loaded from the database or from a file. So suppose that facebook.com is there, so its look and feel is same, but if I log in, my page, my wall will be shown, my posts will be shown, but if another person logs in, his post or his wall will be shown. So it means that the data is being fetched dynamically from the database and is populated on the web page. So the layout or the template or the framework of the page remains the same, only data changes depending on who logs in. Okay, so that dynamic content we can get it from some programming language like PHP, or just I mentioned JSP, Ruby, Python, ASP, all those languages can also fetch data from databases. Okay, so now next part is looks. Looks means you can create data from you can display data using HTML, but it will be plain. The looks and feel will be plain. But suppose you want to change the background color, you want to change the border color, you want to change the border style, you want to put a distance between two elements, or so all these kind of arrangements and changing look and feel on in your website, that can be done using CSS, cascaded style sheet. And then there are few effects on the website. So like facebook.com, if you type 2-3 letters in the search box above, as soon as you will start typing, it will start giving you suggestions. Now those suggestions, those are like looks like a special effect. So those can be generated using JavaScript or jQuery. And finally, today is the world of mobile first approach. So why mobile first approach? Because rather than desktop, everybody has a mobile phone in their hand. And if your website is very good, but it doesn't look good on your mobile device, and the text is quite small to look at, so all those things are a turn off for people. So they will stop using your website. So keeping the mobile audience in in view, you need to create websites which are compatible with mobile, or in fact any device. It will be better if we create a website that is compatible with any website. So as soon as the size of the device changes, the content layout, how the content is presented, what will be the font size, all those things will be changed. So in that way, your website, if someone opens on a desktop, it looks very good, and if it is on mobile, still it looks good and it is easy to access. So mobile first approach is very much appreciated and required. We'll go for mobile first approach in our almost last lecture. We will be using Bootstrap for developing mobile based websites. Okay, so first thing first, see, this class won't go like this boring using PPTs. Mostly we'll be taking practical sessions, and before practical sessions, I am just covering how you can set up your environment, and after that we'll start coding. So first thing is installing a web server. So basically, if you are communicating on a network, so why network? Because any website is hosted on a network so that everybody can access it. Like google.com is hosted on a network, or facebook.com is hosted on a network, and everybody whoever has internet connectivity from anywhere in the world, they can access your website. So for any network communication, you require a software and a port. So, so for hosting a website, we require a web server. It's an application software, just like your like MS Paint is there, or MS Office is there. Similarly, this is an application software which you can download and install it on your system. Once you install it on your system, it will start listening on a port. So what is the importance of port? Basically, any network communication, it goes through a port. Okay, so it's like a blackboard. If I type on it, if I write on the blackboard, all you students can see, and similarly if you type, I can see. So in that way, any communication will go through that whiteboard. So like currently we are using Zoom as an application software through which we are communicating. And this chat box is like, if I type here, you will also see. If you type here, I will also see. So consider this chat box as our portal or port for communication through which we are communicating. So similarly, any web server that communicates through a port, and the default port is 80, although we can change it to any other port. So we can change it to 8080 or 9090, but then we also need to change the port in our website. So instead of writing google.com, we'll have to write google.com colon 8080. Okay, so just a minute. So our website URL here, it will change to 8090 if we change the port. And now if you remember, there are 65,535 ports. Again, the problem will be, can anybody remember all those ports? No, it is difficult to remember those ports. So any website hosting, it is by default done on 80 port. For testing purpose on your system, you can set it to 8090 or anything else. But if you want to be your website to be accessible worldwide, and nobody has to remember on what port you have hosted your website, then by default you have to set it to 80. And just in that case, people will simply only remember your URL, and then it will be accessible to everybody. Okay, so any website that works in a manner that is called request response or server client method. So in server client method, you send a request to a server, and server sends you a response. So like I say, facebook.com/wall.php. Now wall.php is a file, and I am asking facebook.com to give me that file. and server will respond with a response code and that file. So response code may be like, if it may be 200 if the page is available, and if it is like 404 if the page is not available. And similarly there are other code also, like 500 if there is a server error, or I mean you can see the list of web error codes. So usually in a request response method, we send a request for a file, and because ultimately all the web pages are files, so we send a request for a file, and the server returns us the file, or it gives us an error if there is an error. Okay, now consider that I have set up an application server here on my desktop. Now in my desktop there are many folders, C drive, D drive, drives are there, and then inside each drive there are multiple folders. So if I am asking a web server that get me friends.php, so from where will it give? Will it search across the entire laptop, or is there any other method? So yes, there is another method which is a document root. So any application server, a document root is defined. So document root is a place where you can put all your web pages so that it is accessible through your web server. So that is the one. Now next part is the document root, you can define it. So Apache in http.conf file, you can change this document root to any directory that you want, and after that the web server will start serving the pages from that directory. Now next part is directory index. So usually when you require a file, you also specify the name of the file. So like facebook.com/val.php or facebook.com/post.php. Those are the name of the files. But what if I am only writing facebook.com? So in that case, what file will be served by the web server? So that is called directory index. So directory index says that if anybody has not specified the name of the file which is required, so in that case, whatever is mentioned in directory index, that should be served. So usually the directory index will be index.html or index.php or main.php or main.html, depending on language, main.pl, main.aspx, index.aspx. So you can define what file can be your directory index, so that when someone is trying to access your website, it directly lands to that page if file name is not specified. Okay, so that is that. And last thing is that uh, the data security is very important. So earlier only static content was there, or public information was there which anyone can access. But nowadays there are e-commerce websites, then there are social media website where some data is there which can be stolen. So suppose that I went to facebook.com and I typed my username and password. Now facebook.com website is suppose in US and I'm accessing from India. So the data has to travel from India to US on the LAN wire or fiber channel. So in that case, anybody who is on the link, so suppose my ISP is there, geo from where I have taken the connection, so it will pass through their router, and if they put a sniffer on the router, they can know what username and password I am sending. So in that case, I want that I should my data, which is username, password, or my posts, or my val, or my money information from e-commerce website or financial institution like online SBI. So all those should be encrypted and should not be visible to anyone. So for that purpose, instead of normal HTTP, we should use HTTPS. So we need to set up HTTPS. Now, do we need to do any extra thing for doing that? No. Same application server, only a few changes are required. In Apache, you can set up your HTTPS. It's in Apache itself, you can set up your HTTPS, and then all your communication will start working on 443, which is the default port for secure or HTTPS, secure browsing or HTTPS. Okay, till now everything was theory. Do you want to ask something? You can type. Okay. Okay. So basically, any application server will be installed on the system, a server or laptop or desktop. Now, on the desktop, there will be so many folders. There will be drives like C drive, D drive, and inside drive, there will be so many folders. So any web server, if I'm requesting for a file like val.php, so from where it will give the file? So from where should it give the file? So for that, there is a directory, or there is a folder which we declare as a document root. So if I declare like C drive abc/xyz, if I declare that folder as a document root, it means my website should be put in that folder, so that whenever someone requests for a file to the web server, it will serve the file from that folder. Okay, let me show you. So like this is a folder in my no, it's a document root is a folder. It's a directory or folder where you have to put your web pages. So like this sites folder I have created on my MacBook, and this sites folder is my root, web root. So if I create any file here, like just a minute. Now, now if you, this is my folder, sites folder, which I have declared as my document root. Okay, so document root means my all the my web server will uh, take files from here if I am trying to access. So suppose that I have created this abc.html. Let me show you the content. This is my website. Simply it is written, this is my website. Now I want to access this file abc.html. So how do I access it? So on the web, my web browser is already running. So I will type http localhost. Now till here, it is till localhost. This is the folder. After that, I have to write the name of the file which I want to access. So if I want to access abc.html, so here I will write abc.html. And you can just a minute, let me zoom it. And you can see that this is my website is accessible. Now same thing, if I create my folder, if I put my abc.html in like document, will it be accessible? No, it would. Now if I type it, it will show that not found. Why not found? Because my web server, I have the abc.html in my system, but it is not in the document root. Document root is the folder from where the web server will serve the request. So since I removed it from that sites folder, which I have put it for putting all my websites, so that's why it is saying not found. Now, second thing is that directory index. So directory index is the file which will be served, like here, which will be served. So which will be served in case I have not specified the name of the file. So suppose that I did not write the name of the file. Now where it is going? It is listing the files and folders of that website. But suppose that I create a file here. So I have written in, now I have